All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Happy first, I believe it's the first day of fall, honestly. So today we're going to actually be looking at the Razer Huntsman series here. So I figured, bust out the Razer hoodie, get the Razer green going. Because right now we're going to be diving into the brand new V2 TKL, the Huntsman Mini, and the original TE, or their variant of the TKL with the first generation switches. And I'm going to do a full-on direct comparison between all three boards. Because the Razer Mini has the same second-gen switches as the brand new V2 TKL. But honestly, I like the TKL switches better. That sound dampening foam, something about this switch just overall feels better. So let's dive right in and let's take a look. All right, so on top of my desk here, we got the brand new V2 here. Let me get the wrist rest out of the way. The Razer Huntsman Mini, 60% of course. And the original. Oh, don't mind the weird keycaps on this one. I went through a phase of trying out all these different kinds of keycaps, so this kind of became my Frankenstein board. And right off the rip here, what I can tell you is the first TKL here, or the TE, it's a really loud board. Like, even if I was to turn it up to the microphone here, and let's shake it. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. But you can definitely hear the stems in this thing. Just, Razer likes to have these wire stems on their key switches, and you can really feel these things go back and forth on this board. It's really loud. Right? We're not going to get to the typing just yet. When you pick up the Mini, you really don't hear that too much. Now, the Mini also has the rubber, the silicone dampeners directly inside of the switch, and so does the V2 here. But I will say, you don't really hear it too much in the Mini. You do hear it slightly in the V2. Not too bad, though. Not too bad. So, let's actually pop open the key switches in some of these ones. Actually take a deeper look inside. So let me turn the brightness off on my V2. And you can kind of see what I mean here. All right, so the first things first here is that we're going to take a look at the first generation here. Now, the first generation, let me see if I can get a little bit more focus on here. You can see directly inside, turn the light on, directly inside of this stem housing here, we have no silicone dampers whatsoever. And in fact, this wire that they have going on really moves. It's really loose, and then the key switch in itself, this rattles quite a bit. So that when it goes down, you could probably already hear that. It's making some noise. A lot of it. Now we can actually hop this over now to the Razer Huntsman Mini, and we start to see the first change. The first change here is that we see those silicone dampeners directly inside of the switch. We don't really get too much. There's still some rattle here on the wiring, but they've tensioned it up a little bit on the second gen. So the switch still moves, and it still makes some sound, but it's dramatically less. And then finally, we can look at the V2 here, and again, we still have those silicone dampeners. The wire still does move. It's, again, we can see how much tighter this stuff is getting though. So the tightness from the first gen here, where this thing is just wobbling all over the place, to then the tension control here, where it really doesn't even move too much. It moves, but this is kind of all over the place. You can feel how loose this is. I don't really get that with the V2. It's very subtle. And you probably can't even hear that on the microphone. So that's kind of the big difference when it comes down to that, is the switches themselves. Try my light turn off, there we go. The switches themselves feel tighter. Things about these switches actually feel a little bit more refined, like there's more thought put into it. Because my biggest complaint with the TKL or the TE, the original one here, was just how damn loud it was. Check this out. A lot of pinging, a lot of rattling. Just an overall unpleasant experience with this board. It's really fast. I know my biggest complaint that I had with my original review video was that even just resting your hand on it like this, you'd just be sitting there and you would just actuate it. You could probably hear me just clacking WSAD right now. But yeah, you would just sit here. It was a horrible typing experience. It was decent to game on. Like, I really wanted to game with it, but when I would stream live, you would hear this board in the background. So, personally, for my money, even if you were to find a refurbished TE for a couple bucks, I still wouldn't get it unless that's your only option. But even then, I would look somewhere else. Like, I would even look at SteelSeries or just another company all in general. But the switches on that are first gen, and you can tell that they're first gen. Then we're going to move on to the Mini here, which I've mained the Mini for a long time. My only complaint with it is, man, I am just not a 60% guy. The only 60% I've ever truly liked was this guy, which is the HyperX Origin 60. And the only reason why I've liked this board more than any other 60% board is for this one reason and one reason only. Let's see if I can actually get my camera over there. Right here. The fact that they put the function keys and the arrow keys on the bottom right versus I know most traditional places like to put the function key down here and then the arrow keys on the JKL. I don't know. My hand doesn't like that. I feel that this is a little bit more of a natural feeling to it. Don't mind all the cords. I have a ton of stuff plugged in. That just was more natural to me. That and the actual key presses were really nice with the Origin. So I actually really like the Origin. If I was to actually choose between the Origin or the Mini, whew, that's a tough one. That's a direct tough one. We're reviewing and comparing the Huntsman series, not so much the HyperX. But this is it. This is a little guy. And let's move the microphone down just a little bit. You can try to kind of hear this. Still some resonance from it. Definitely a lot more muted. You can tell that there's something in there that's causing a resistance. So you can, when you're sitting here and you're on WSAD, you don't immediately feel that down feeling, or you don't want to immediately press the key. It's actually nice to type on. So I truly love this keyboard. I really like it. I got the white version on here with the RGB plugged in, and with this thing going, it shines. It's really pretty. And I personally really like this board. Like I said, my biggest complaint with it was the function keys. That's just me not being used to 60%. If you're used to 60% and that's just what you use, no harm, no foul. Other than that, though, I'd say if this actually was on sale, I would pick this up. Now, the only caveat I have to that is unless you are a diehard 60% fan, the fact that this board exists changes the game for me. And why do I say that? Well, number one, don't mind that. Number one is TKLs are personally my favorite gaming board. And on the other hand here, these keys with that sound dampening foam they put in here, so this is what Razer did, is that they went in and put in this foam dampening key or board right inside of this thing. And we already looked at these silicone dampeners, but this was the big thing, was the foam. I'm not sure how too much of a difference this really makes, but from what I can tell, it actually makes a pretty big difference. Let's get the microphone down. It, to me, sounds more like a put-together keyboard. I'm getting more of a thock instead of a clack on this board. It feels so much better than the Mini. The Mini has that resistance. This has that resistance, but it's a smooth resistance. And the best way I can actually demonstrate that is by key wobble. So let's bring all the boards back out. And the first thing we're going to look at here is the original TE. The TE, I would say, is a very loose board. Yeah, you heard that. Keys are very wobbly on it. Altogether, just kind of a wobble fest. Move over to the Mini. Better, much better. These keys, although yes, really don't wobble too much, there is still some stem wobble on it. And it's got that resistance. It kind of feels gritty. It doesn't really feel so like ridiculously smooth. It's a little bit more gritty. There is resistance to it. It's nice, but it could be even improved. That's where the TKL V2 comes in. Barely anything. I think I'm playing an instrument. Oh, you know, nothing on this board. And I think that's why I love it so much. Again, it's got that resistance. It feels good. It's smooth. There's no grit to it. No sound made out of it. And it's just responsive as all hell. So I don't know, man. The fact that this board exists, I think, kind of defeats the purpose on some other boards. Damn, that's loud. Let me turn the... There we go. Now, I do wish this thing had some better RGB. I mean, come on. That's a little... This is Razer, man. You buy Razer for the lights, for the RGB, and it's just... It's not too good. This actually reminds me of the G Pros. Their RGB on that. Because even on the original TE that I have, the lighting seemed to be better. But, you know, I buy it for performance, not so much the lights. But overall, man, if you were to sit me in one room, and you told me that you could only buy one of these boards, and only have one of these boards, go with the V2. Mini, if you need that 60% in your life, go for it. It's a great board. I would steer even towards the Origin, though, from HyperX. This board, toss out. Don't even want that. For me, it's all about this bad boy right here. All right. Well, that was fun. I basically recorded a video. Jesus Christ, things are falling. I say that was fun. I basically recorded a video just sitting here on live, which was basically my main goal. But let's see how this eventually turns out, huh? Anyway, guys, you guys can always catch me here on YouTube, live, reviewing products, making videos, trying to give you my honest opinions on things. You can also find me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I know my handles to all that will be found in the description below. And I try to make content when it's available to me. I try. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to go ahead and make an actual video out of this. And I'll catch you in the next one.